You know what I just thought of? You know what I just thought of? One of the only other, probably the other best villain who's not a Sith in the saga, Boba Fett. He goes out in the Sarlacc pit.
That's true. But Boba Fett's like a weird one because he looks epic and he should be epic and he really has all the traits to be epic, but because of his limited screen time,
you're right.
You could argue
that's the thing. He's everybody says he's such a badass. He was the highest selling action figure. You know, he's awesome. He looks so cool, and he could be cool. But you're right. What we see him on screen, he goes out like a total punk. He gets hit in the back with like his jetpack. He's just hits the side of the ship, just falls right in the Sarlacc pit.
Exactly.
That's how it went down in the original too. Then they added stuff with the special edition, with like, you know, him getting kind of pulled down little by little.
Oh, yeah.
But in the original, his ass just flies. You know, he's just Boba Fett. He turns, hits his jetpack, hits the side of the ship, and just rolls in like a punk.
Well, he was also a big deal in the Star Wars Holiday Special that nobody's seen.
Yes.
Exactly. Because originally, here's the problem. Originally, George Lucas's plan was, it was going to be much more violent. Boba Fett was going to be the main villain, and they were going to go to Kashyyyk instead of Endor.
Gotcha.
That was the original plan.
Okay.
But then they wanted to sell more to kids, so they got teddy bears. So they went to Endor.
So it took the Wookiees and shrunk them down.
Yeah, and I don't know
turned
what
them
the
into
fuck.
Ewoks.
I don't know why they decided Boba Fett wasn't going to be the main villain anymore. I honestly think because of the way Star Wars works, it's better because it's basically geared towards the Skywalker family soap opera and Force powerful people or aliens, which Boba Fett is neither one. Boba Fett could have been like, this is a bad example, but he could have been a little bit like in The Amazing Spider-Man, how like Electro seems like the main villain, and then at the end it's Goblin 2.0. They could have did a similar thing where it's like Boba Fett, and then it's Sidious, who's like, you know, because he's the main person pulling the strings anyway.
Yeah.
So they really could have did a combination of the two. But I mean, the other issue too was Return of the Jedi is geared to being more of a family film just in general.
Yeah.
You know, after the darkness of Empire Strikes Back.
So Boba Fett, right? Boba Fett is down in the Sarlacc pit. Do we think he's coming back in the series at all, in like the current movies? Do you think it's likely, or even not likely, but possible, let's say? One of the executives at Lucasfilm, though, when he was asked about it, is he really dead?
Well, that's like Samuel L. Jackson claims that Mace Windu's not dead.
Yeah, well, and that just
although that one's at least slightly more plausible.
Sure. Well, who knows? I mean, they could both...
It depends on the...
depends on what happens after...
The anatomy of the Sarlacc.
Yeah, it depends what happens after the George Lucas wipe and we go to the next scene. For all we know, 3 minutes later, he came climbing back out. The Sarlacc burped him out. We don't know, man.
Well, there was a theory that Max von Sydow, I think that's how you say it. There was a theory that he was Boba Fett. He was an older version of Boba Fett.
Sick.
But
That'd
obviously
be sick if they came back to that Tarantino style.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden they, like in like 3 years from now, in the next episode of the movie, we see a scene 5 minutes before the beginning of like Force Awakens, and we see like they actually reveal then that he's Boba Fett, and you're like, oh my god, this changes everything, you know? Oh my god, yeah, like. But anyway, this executive, when he was asked about Boba Fett's fate, is he alive? Is he dead? He made a great analogy. He put it in scientific terms where he said, he is like Schrodinger's cat, that he is both equally alive in the Sarlacc pit and dead in the Sarlacc pit until they decide what they want to do with him.
Yeah.
If they decide they want to use him, then by all means, he was alive, you know what I mean? And if they decide he's run his course, they're going to do something else, then he died in the pit like they
it's
always
honestly
assumed.
almost like the audience is the Ministry of Magic when it came to Voldemort. It's like,
there you go.
It's like everybody said that he was like, Harry's like, he's back. Dumbledore said he's back, and everyone's like, nah, you're not back.
Oh,
it's the same concept.
Yeah, don't even get me started with Fudge, that bastard, you know.